Where are we now? I mean, where are we in the grand scheme of things? I mean, I would posit that maybe it's even more concerning now because back in April, we saw when we were staring into the worst case situation for tariffs, we knew at least the upside would be talks between the two men. And now we've gotten to that point, and then it was taken away. We saw that China is willing to provoke the U.S. With its leverage. It seems like it's much worse.
Well, thanks for having me, Melissa. Great to be with you and the traders. Listen, for the first time in a very long time, the market sentiment has matched my energy. There's been a real concern on my part that we are just not prepared for what China has been planning for quite some time. The stuff that they announced on enhanced export controls, the legal architecture has been in place to do this for about 5 years or so, and China is finding a correct time to do this for maximum leverage. But let's take a step back quickly, Melissa, and talk about what they've done. They have announced a policy that could either completely halt or severely slow down one of the sectors in our economy that the market has been trading well on. You cannot produce chips at the downstream if you cannot control or guarantee the supply chain in the upstream. And so I think it's time for us to really focus on the main thing and let the main thing be the main thing in these discussions. And that is, how do we break this chokehold that China has in the critical mineral space?
So, Dwardrick, why now, then? Always great to have you. And so, we're talking about this summit in a couple of weeks that was going to happen anyway. You've got leaders that, we're going to be there anyway. It wasn't necessarily about getting together, but China does seem to be going on the offensive. And before I referenced the naval vessels and, what are clearly provocative 2 days of cruising around Japan, why are they doing that? Why is this, where is the I don't want to call it bravado because I think China's, had felt this way for a long time. I think China's got a lot of muscle they can flex. But it does appear that there's a confluence here, and there does appear to be timing. And I don't believe China does anything happenstance. And here we are in the last few days. The movement in gold has highlighted just how much China has already diversified away from the U.S. And with gold, it does give some backing to their own currency if they're the biggest gold holder and producer in the world. So, sorry, but why now? Why all this now?
Yeah, look, I think there's two ways to look at this, Tim, and both of them are likely correct. In the short term, I do buy a lot of what we're hearing other analysts talk about in terms of trying to maximize leverage for what was potentially, it may not happen now, a meeting on the margins of APEC. And China, look, let's be clear. They still want some things for us, at least in the near term. I think they're pretty annoyed that IEEPA fentanyl tariffs are still in place at 20% when they've made a deal with Biden to do something about fentanyl. They came back and offered a deal to Trump. None of that has moved the dial on the IEEPA 20% tariffs. I think China, despite what we know over the long term, still has a desire to get access to advanced chips in the short term. So they want to see those export controls go away. But those are near-term things. Over the long term, look, I do think they believe that now is their time to really assert China's role in the world, and they don't look to be subservient to the U.S., and they're showing the world that they can stand in the ring and match us blow for blow, and that has diplomatic value over the long term.